guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Divyanka, and on this channel I like to share parts of my life that might benefit you in some way so we can all live our best and most productive life. Today we're looking at what's on my iPhone. And although this might seem really random, honestly, I have curated my phone in such a way that it kind of minimizes distractions and helps me daily with the things that I really need to get done. So I just really wanted to share my setup, and if it helps inspire you guys in some way, then that'll definitely be a plus. I love watching these types of videos. I think my phone is the way that it is because I've watched so many of these and just kind of put it all into what works for me. And my intent definitely isn't for you to copy how I've laid out my phone, but after watching a couple of them, I've definitely realized that incorporating some of these things has definitely inspired how I use my phone, and again helps me with my daily activities. So if anything, if this inspires you in some way, then that'll definitely be a little win for me. My setup does change over time, so I assume I'm going to need to do this video maybe every 6 months or every year, but for now, this is how it is, this is what's working for me, so let's just get right into it. Regarding the tech details of my phone, I do have the iPhone XR right now, and I have updated it to the iOS 15 most updated version, in case you guys were wondering. So when I open up my phone, usually it opens to my main app page. Now, I do really like to keep my phone minimalistic and as kind of simplistic as possible. This again helps me minimize distractions on my phone and makes sure that the apps that are on my homepage are actually useful. So on the upper left-hand corner, I have the Lightroom widget app. Now, I have the widget specifically because the Lightroom camera shows up, and I do use that camera a lot more than the actual camera on the iPhone. I really like the Lightroom app to begin with, and their camera just has a few more functions that I really like. I love photography, really into it, but sometimes you can't take your camera everywhere, and the Lightroom app is absolutely great for that. You're able to shoot on RAW in the Lightroom camera, which you're not able to do in the normal iPhone camera, so I do really like doing that. If you guys don't know what RAW means, it just basically captures more data so you can kind of mess with it a lot more when you're editing. And again, it's more data in the picture, so it's kind of higher quality. I do really like using that, especially for pictures that I'm taking from that photography lens. And again, just having this on my home page makes it really easy to access. I can just open up my phone and open it up right there. And even though it's one more click than the actual iPhone camera, that's okay with me, and it's front and center, so it's pretty easy to get to. Next, the 4 apps that I have to the right of my Lightroom app are my Gmail, my Outlook Mail, my Teams app, and my Kindle app. And the Gmail app I literally use all the time. I'm reading, replying to emails all the time, so that is definitely important to have. And then next to that and under that, I have the Outlook app and the Microsoft Teams app, which are 2 apps my company uses to communicate. So again, during my work day, just every day, those are apps that I really need to have right there. Next, the Kindle app is something that I have right there because I am trying to get better at reading, and I've placed it right next to all the other apps that I use every single day in hopes that I will click it more often and read more often. There's that law about having your environment friendly to the habits you want to create. And so that is me implementing that. I'm hoping again that the placement of this app really amounts to me reading more. Now, under these apps, in like the second batch of these apps, I have the formatting of it switched, only because I like the aesthetic of it. You can kind of structure it however you want, but I like having them kind of opposite like that. It makes it look aesthetically pleasing a little bit. And so on the right, I have the Google Chrome widget. And again, I use Chrome all the time for searching things, and I would always search for the Chrome app and then get there, and it was just 3 more clicks that I needed to do to actually get to the app. So I put the widget there, and that's actually a new addition, so sometimes I forget that it's there and still sometimes do the whole process of searching for the app to get to it, but I'm getting used to it. It's definitely way easier to just click on the widget, it opens up Chrome search page, and then I can search for whatever I need to look for. Again, this is definitely a productivity, time-saving thing. I use that app so much. I'm always using the Google search feature that, again, it just makes sense to have right there. Next to the little Chrome widget, I have 4 more apps. The first app is the TED app, and I don't use this very often, but I actually recently found this and think it's pretty cool. The TED app basically has a bunch of TEDx videos that you can watch and some written stuff too. So I had this on my homepage because anytime I find myself kind of just looking on my phone and browsing and wasting time, I want to be wasting it in a productive way. And so I'm hoping that, again, I land up on the TED app more often than not, especially because it's right there front and center. Now, I will admit I have not used this as much as I'd like to, but again, I'm trying to set myself up for success. If I'm going to be spending time on my phone, then I want to be browsing things that I'm going to learn from, that I can read, and again, I'm trying to up that reading or watch and actually be inspired from. So however I can do that, I'm trying to help myself. For now, I have a thumbs up on the TED app. I think it's a really cool app to have on your phone, again, just to learn in general, and I'll report back on kind of as I use it more. Hopefully I use it more. Next, I have the Apple News app right next to it. Now, admittedly, I actually don't get most of my news from Apple News. I've signed up for a couple newsletters that bring daily news, and that's how I've been getting it. So that's just through my Gmail app. Every morning, I try to make sure I read that. And then if I have additional time later and want to read up on more news, then I do use the Apple News app. I don't have the Plus subscription, but again, it's a good way to get some reading in if I'm browsing on my phone anyway. Next, I have the Notes app right under there, and that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really use Notes for my note-taking in general. I actually use Evernote for this. It's another app, and I do most of my note-taking on Evernote. But for anything that's quick, this is of course synced to my MacBook laptop, so it's a really easy way to jot some things down, have a few notes if I think of something, and then get to it later. So I really like having that, again, easy to access on my home page. Next to the Notes app, I have the YouTube Studio app, and now this app is actually really helpful for me. I probably spend an obscene amount of time on this app, and maybe it should go away just for that reason, but this app is really helpful when I need to check anything YouTube. So this is the YouTube Studio Creator app, so if you have a YouTube account, then you can go into it and look at your stats, kind of change settings, things like that. And although I don't do major things on this app, everything is done on my laptop. It is helpful sometimes when I'm on the go and need to switch a video from private to public, or if I want to check stats on the go. So I do most often use this app for checking my stats, and it just gives you a nice overview and gives you a quick rundown of how things are going. And the last thing I use this app for is comments. Sometimes when I'm just sitting around, I do like to comment back, whether it's on this channel or my other professional tips channel, which is Focus RX. And again, sometimes in my downtime, it's just best to respond to comments then. So I do like having this app on my phone, on my homepage, easy to access. Now I have one more row of apps, and as you can tell, I haven't added more just because I like the clean look of it. The first one on this row is the Squarespace app. I use Squarespace for both of my websites and my blogs. It is my host of choice. I really do swear by Squarespace, love using it. And similar to YouTube Studio, I have this app just for quick changes, for analytics, for commerce checks, things like that on my phone that I just need to check on the go. I don't really access this app very often. I'm usually, if I'm editing anything on the website, it's of course on my laptop, but again, just a nice to have on my front page in case I need it. Next, I have the Spotify app. I use Spotify and I don't use Apple Music. I absolutely love Spotify for music, and I need it all the time. I have it on the bottom because usually when I'm on the go, if I'm driving, anything like that, I need it for quick access, and it needs to be kind of accessible by my thumb finger, and I have pretty small hands, so I can't really reach the top, so it's just easier to have it on the bottom right there so I can click on it. Next, I have an app called Lens Buddy. If you guys haven't heard this is a really cool app with self-timer settings that are really helpful for taking pictures yourself. Now, why it's more helpful than the Lightroom app or the camera app that comes with the iPhone is because you can actually put it to specific settings if you want a picture taken every 3 seconds, every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds, and then you can tell it how many pictures you actually want. So if you want 5, 10, 15, or unlimited pictures. You just set that all and then you place it wherever you want to place it and you take your pictures of yourself. And as you can imagine, I do take pictures of myself all the time for either Instagram or thumbnails or whatever it may be. Even if you're taking pictures with friends, this is really, really helpful. And again, you don't have to keep pressing the button. It takes a picture at whatever time interval you tell it to, every 30 seconds, every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds, and it'll take as many as you want. So as you can imagine, it's super helpful. It is a free app. If you guys haven't heard of it or haven't tried it out, definitely download it. It's super cool, super useful, super handy. Next and last on my homepage, I have the Pinterest app. That is actually my alternative to Instagram. As you guys can tell, I don't have Instagram, TikTok, any of those social media apps on my homepage, and that's very, very purposeful. But the one that I do have is Pinterest, and that's for many reasons. I do use Pinterest for kind of business research, and then I do like going on Pinterest because I do think I find more kind of valuable information either about business or lifestyle or editing or working out. Kind of everything is there, and if I am to scroll anything, I do like it being Pinterest. Now, that's definitely a black hole I'm going down, so maybe Pinterest needs to leave my homepage soon. But for now, it is helpful to me and I like having it right there. Now, I actually have only 3 active pages on my phone. The first is this homepage with the apps that I just went through. And then if I swipe right, my second page is actually just a Pinterest widget. Now, Pinterest widgets are super cool. You can set your Pinterest widget to a specific board and basically have the images curate themselves. So the Pinterest widget I have is actually quotes. And so every hour it'll change the quote that it shows you. And this is just a little touch. Again, I'm not going to this page all the time, but I do like seeing it every time I kind of swipe by it, or in case I open up my phone to this page. It has a different quote every time, and sometimes they're really nice, especially when I'm kind of having a wonky, sad feeling day. Some of the quotes that come up do kind of give me a little light bulb moment, and so I do like just having that as the little touch of positivity or mindset change or whatever you want to call it, just there. Again, you don't have to read it, but it's nice. It changes by itself every single hour, so every time I open it, there's something else there to read and to think about. Then if you actually swipe left from the homepage that I initially talked about, I have 2 super, super, super helpful apps. The first is my calendar app. I really need this, and that's why it's a big widget on my phone. This calendar is synced to all my Google calendars and my work calendar, so it's extremely helpful to check on meetings. It's kind of the first thing I check at the beginning of the day to see kind of what I'm up to. It lays it out super, super easily. There's a few different formats you can play with, and this is the format I like to see my day in. So again, it's super helpful, and I am one of those people that calendar blocks my time, so even if I don't have a meeting coming up, I can see what I need to be doing at that time and not necessarily look at it on my laptop. And under that, I have the Google Tasks widget, and I use Google Tasks for my to-do list basically. I can do a whole nother video on how I have set up my productivity system with regards to my calendar and my to-do list. But on your phone, if you use Google for your calendar and to-dos, then the to-do is a different app and a different widget, as you can see. So it's again super helpful to just see my to-do list right there. When I click on it, it enlarges my list and tells me all my to-dos, but here I can see the latest. And as you can imagine, I have both my calendar and my to-dos on this one page for a very specific reason. It helps me organize my day. When I'm looking at it, it's kind of everything I need to see what I need to be doing, to know what I need to be doing next. And so it's just super, super helpful. Now, those are my 3 active pages. And then if I swipe left again, it's that standard Apple page. And here I have 2 widgets. The first is the weather. I do generally need to check the weather every single day, so I know where this is. Again, super helpful to just swipe. It's right there. And I have the bigger widget so I can kind of see the whole week's weather. And underneath the weather widget, I have the battery widget. So this widget tells you the battery life of your phone and any other Apple products. So this is especially helpful if you do have an Apple Watch, AirPods, things like that. So I do have AirPods, and it's nice to see kind of how much they're charged. Again, very useful useful thing. It helps with things that I actually need to know on a daily basis. And I do check the battery of my AirPods like very often, and usually they're out of charge. I'm very bad at charging them. But yeah, super helpful to have on my phone. Other than the apps and the pages that I mentioned, I have everything kind of out of frame, out of sight, and if I need to look for it, if I need to access it, I just search it, as Apple now has that feature that you don't have to have all the apps on the home page, which I do love. Again, this setup really helps me to make sure that I'm not distracted by my phone and that I'm actually using my phone as the resource that it is. Again, checking my daily calendar, making sure I'm checking off my to-dos, making sure I'm getting my reading in, and then using things like helpful photography apps to actually get what I need. So this has been working for me. Like I said, I do change it all the time, so I'm sure I'll make an updated video at some point, but I do really like that I don't have too much going on. I have all the apps that I need right front and center, and then outside of that, whatever I do need to look for is also pretty easy to reach. We do, of course, in this century have a problem of spending way too much time on these little devices. So the way that I've organized my phone really helps me stay on track, do what I need to do in a day, and still provides me with the resources that I need. We can't really get rid of our phones right now. It's just not realistic. So we might as well curate it to the type of life, to the type of daily life that we actually want to live to help ourselves and not hurt ourselves. Why put things in front of us that are actually going to be more distracting for us, and then we're just going to feel about our day if we waste all of our time on our phone? So again, hopefully this helps you guys, kind of inspires you to maybe clean up your phone, make it in a way that actually helps you on a daily basis. Whatever you need, whatever your daily needs are, I hope your phone actually helps with that. That is it for today's video. I will be back very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys will see me in the next one.